Watching CNBC TV 18.
Hello and welcome to Global Eye. I'm Parikshit Luthra. The deep economic crisis in Sri Lanka, the political instability in Pakistan, the rise of Taliban in Afghanistan, and a rising anti-India rhetoric in the Maldives. All of these together have implications for India. Is it time now to review India's neighborhood policy? But before that, let's take a look at India's investments in the region and the kind of economic situation some of the countries are in. First of all, what is India's neighborhood first policy? This was announced early on in Prime Minister Modi's first term. The focus was on improving ties with India's neighbors, help without strings attached, and reduce China's influence in the region. Let's look specifically at Sri Lanka, which is facing a major economic problem right now. India has committed close to $6 billion over a decade and $2.5 billion in grants and concessional loans in the last 3 months alone. Let's look at China now. According to the Gateway House, China has made investments and other commitments to the tune of at least $150 billion in the neighborhood. China is the largest overseas investor in the Maldives, in Myanmar, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. Most of China's investments are part of the Belt and Road Initiative. Now, according to reports, China has investments, grants and loans to the tune of $15 billion in Sri Lanka alone. Also, a $65 billion commitment to the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. And currently, there is an economic crisis in at least 3 neighboring countries. Let's begin with Pakistan, which is battling extreme inflation, forex reserves at their lowest level since March 2021, and the Pakistani rupee at a historic low. Sri Lanka is left with foreign exchange reserves of $1.9 billion. It has to make payments to the tune of $8.6 billion this year and a foreign debt of $12.5 billion. Nepal is facing a balance of payments deficit. It has stopped non-essential imports and its forex reserves have fallen by 16% in the last 7 months. Overall, India has lines of credit to the tune of $16 billion in Asia and $4 billion as grants in Southeast Asia, Africa and Latin America. China, on the other hand, has investments and other commitments to the tune of $150 billion in Southeast Asia. Let's take all of this to our guests. We're joined by former Commerce Secretary Rajiv Kher. We also have with us Rahul Chhabra, former Secretary Economic Relations at the Ministry of External Affairs, and C. Raja Mohan, Senior Fellow at the Asia Society Policy Institute in New Delhi. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Ambassador Chhabra, let me begin with you. Looking at the kind of crisis that Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Nepal are facing right now, do you think it's time to rework India's neighborhood policy? You're on mute, sir.
Yes, sorry. Good evening. Good to be on the panel with Raja and Rajiv. Good evening, Parikshit. So it's the right moment to pose a question like this, but I don't know if you're going to get the answer you're expecting from me, because I think the policy that the government of India at the moment is following, it seems to be on track. This is really not, because Indian the policies, not only in the neighborhood, in general, don't change the manner in which you're sort of presenting it. You know, situations could be changing and evolving. So the policy changes sort of come with a well thought out processes, procedures, and when things have really sort of reached fruition. So we can't really tabulate and change and modify policies, you know, at junctures, you know, that may be just small turning points. So that's the first point. Secondly, currently, I mean, to compare this, it's a good comparison. What you've given out the figures for China and for India, the investments in the region and the lines of credit, which is maybe the figures are correct. But then we also need to see what those sort of commitments are achieving and how are they being received by the local populations. You know, so are you getting enough bang for the buck? So and if India is India really able to put more on the table? You know, those are the sort of issues that we need to see. China, with an economy of the size of 15 trillion, can afford to put $150 billion on the table. India, with about $2.5 trillion economy, is not able to match that. But then we probably match it in the quality of the lending, the people where it goes, the sort of sectors that we are investing in. So all these are sort of important to the whole decision.
Right. Strong points there, Mr. Chhabra. You have been handling that division, which has made a lot of those development grants to the neighborhood as well. I'd like to get and see Raja Mohan at this stage. Mr. Raja Mohan, we are seeing major geopolitical challenges right now, the Ukraine-Russia war. This will have an impact on strategic affairs, foreign affairs in the years to come. What will be the impact on India's neighborhood? And do you feel that while Mr. Chhabra is also saying that our neighborhood policy is on track, do you think certain tweaks, certain reviews are needed in light of what is happening in Ukraine?
Look, I think let me just reinforce what Rahul said. Look, foreign policy begins where your borders end. So it's not a question of having constantly changing policies. Foreign policy will always have to deal with your neighbors because they're your first external factors, if you will. So therefore, it's not a question of changing our policies, but you must also recognize all our neighbors are also sovereign actors. That is, just by saying I have a policy and everything is going to fall into place, I think it's a fundamental mistake because there are other actors who are making choices on the basis of their presumed interests. And they all have domestic politics, which constantly are in a flux. Therefore, much of the concerns you expressed in your opening piece are part of life. I mean, it is a question of managing what you have in the neighborhood. In terms of the comparison of India-China, look, China is a 5 times bigger economy. Therefore, just showing the numbers does not, imply very much because the money that China has put in has also created controversies. For example, in Sri Lanka, questions being raised whether it has worsened Sri Lanka's economic position. So I think you must take this in an integrated manner rather than simply saying, look, China is marching ahead. China is not marching ahead. You saw in Nepal last week, Nepal resisted Chinese pressures and their communist friends in Nepal to accept a US grant assistance. Sri Lanka is going against the Chinese advice to go to the IMF because they should have gone there long ago. But today they will be going to the international system. So I think there are opportunities always for India. The question is, within our means, what do we do? I finally say a word about Ukraine. Ukraine has actually worsened Sri Lanka's situation. They were already in a bad place. And the further increases in oil prices, I think, have made the situation terrible. Before that, COVID had destroyed their tourism revenues. So I think Sri Lanka is in a series of circumstances. But I think Sri Lanka is debating whether it can continue its China-first foreign policy, or does it need more cooperation with India, US, Japan? I think the political crisis will force some of those issues in Kolkata.
Right. Good points there, Mr. Raja Mohan. But let me also get in Mr. Rajiv Kher, the former Commerce Secretary.